Before you hear this story, take a moment and ask yourself one question. What would you do if your life was being held in someone else's hands? This is not an ordinary calabash. It carries life itself. If it touches the ground, life will be taken and destiny will change forever. In every generation, there are men who love too deeply, and because of that, they bleed more than most. This is not a story of magic. It is not a story of spirits or charms. It is a story of trust and how fragile it becomes when placed in the wrong hands. Listen carefully, because this story could be about any man and any woman. He was known in his town as a quiet man, not poor, not rich, just comfortable. The kind of man whose bills were paid before they were due. The kind of man whose house was simple but solid. The kind of man who slept peacefully because hunger had no business knocking on his door. His name was Ekun. Ekun woke up before the sun every morning, not because he was forced to, but because discipline had become his nature. While others slept, he was already washing his face. While others complained, he was already on the road to work. And while others spent money they did not have to impress people who did not care, Ekun built his life quietly, brick by brick. He worked with his hands, he worked with his mind, and above all, he worked with patience. Yet for all his stability, there was one thing missing in his life: love. Not because he could not find women, but because he refused to look. His heart had been broken too many times. The first woman had loved his effort, but despised his struggle. The second had admired his discipline, but envied richer men. The third had sworn loyalty, until temptation whispered louder. Each betrayal had taken something from him: trust, hope, faith in promises. Eventually, Ikun made a decision. He chose peace over pain, silence over drama, loneliness over betrayal. I will remain single, he told himself, not because I am weak, but because I am tired. And for years, he kept that promise. Then one afternoon, fate walked into his life, wearing a gentle smile. Her name was Nalaya. She was younger than him, but not foolish. Beautiful, but not loud. Soft-spoken, but observant. They met by accident, or so it seemed. Ikun had gone to visit a friend when Nalaya passed by, carrying a basket on her head, her walk calm and graceful. She greeted respectfully. He responded politely. That was all. But something stayed with him. It wasn't just her beauty, it was her calmness, the absence of desperation, the way she spoke without exaggeration. Days later, they met again, then again, and slowly conversations began. At first, Ekun kept his guard high. He listened more than he spoke. He watched more than he smiled. But Nalaya was patient. She never rushed him, never pressured him, never asked for things he had not offered. And that, ironically, was what made him fall. Months passed. They began dating. Simple dates, quiet evenings, long conversations. Ekun noticed something unusual. Nalaya praised effort, not wealth. She admired consistency, not luxury. She spoke about loyalty as if it meant something sacred. Against his bitter judgment, Ekun began to open up, not all at once, but slowly, like a man testing ice before stepping onto it. One evening, he took her to his house. This is where I live, he said plainly. Nalaya looked around. The house was not extravagant, but it was neat, well built, secure. She smiled. It's peaceful, she said. That single word struck him deeply. Peaceful. Yes, that was exactly what he had built. Over time, he showed her more: his small farmlands, his savings books, his business records. He gave her access, not because she demanded it, but because he believed she deserved it. He introduced her to his parents. His mother studied her closely. His father asked careful questions. In the end, they nodded. She is respectful, his mother said. She carries herself well, his father added. Ekun felt something unfamiliar rise in his chest. Hope. One night, long after laughter had faded and silence filled the house, Ekun made a decision. A dangerous one. He took Nalaya into his bedroom. He closed the door, and then he pointed upward. Tied to the ceiling, hanging carefully, was a calabash pot. Old, brown, smooth with age. Nalaya looked confused. What is that? She asked. Ekun's voice dropped. That, he said slowly, is the source of my life. She laughed nervously. He did not. When I was younger, he continued, I learned that some things must be protected at all costs. That calabash is tied to my destiny. Her smile faded. The day that calabash touches the ground, he said, is the day I die. Silence filled the room. Nalaya swallowed. You're joking, right? Ekun looked her straight in the eyes. Some things are not jokes. He watched her carefully, her breathing, her expression, her reaction. After a moment, she nodded. Your secret is safe with me, she said softly. I would never hurt you. Those words entered his heart. And that was the beginning of the test. Trust is a delicate thing. It does not shatter loudly. It cracks silently. And most times, by the time you hear the sound, the damage has already been done. After the night Ekun revealed the secret of the calabash, something changed. Not in him, but in Nalaya. At first, the change was almost invisible, so small that even a cautious man could miss it. She became quieter, not the peaceful quiet she once had, but a distracted one. The kind of quiet where the mind is somewhere else while the body remains. Ekun noticed it. He always noticed things. When she laughed, it came a second too late. When she smiled, it did not reach her eyes. When he spoke, she sometimes asked him to repeat himself because she had not been listening. Still, he said nothing. Love often teaches us to doubt our instincts. Life continued. Ekun worked, provided, remained consistent. He did not change his habits. He did not grow lazy. He did not reduce his effort. In fact, he worked even harder. Because in his mind, Nalaya was not just a woman anymore. She was his future. But temptation does not knock politely. It sneaks in. And it came for Nalaya wearing fine clothes and expensive promises. The man's name was Karim. He was everything Ekun was not. Loud, flashy, careless, with money he did not truly have. Karim talked big. He spoke of businesses that never existed, deals that were almost done, wealth that was on the way, gold, silver, cars, trips, a life of ease. Words flowed from his mouth like ohoni, empty, sweet, dangerous. Nalaya met Karim at a gathering. At first, it was harmless conversation, then compliments, then comparisons. You're too beautiful to be living such a simple life, Karim said one day. She laughed, but inside her, something stirred. Your man is hardworking, he continued, but hardworking men die tired, while smart men enjoy life. That sentence lodged itself deep in her mind, like a seed. She began to compare Ekun's quiet mornings, Karim's loud promises, Ekun's steady progress, Karim's glittering future. She forgot one important thing. Promises are not proof. The affair did not begin immediately. It never does. First came secrecy. She started guarding her phone, turning the screen away, smiling at messages she would never explain. Then, excuses. I'm tired. I need space. I'm visiting a friend. Distance crept into the home. Ekun felt it. He tried to talk. Nalaya, is something wrong? He asked one evening. She shrugged. Nothing. You worry too much. But love does not lie to the heart. Soon, Karim's words became Nalaya's reality. He promised to take her away, promised marriage in luxury, promised a life without struggle. What will Ekun ever give you? He asked mockingly. Peace? Peace doesn't buy diamonds. She did not defend her husband. Silence became her answer, and that silence was betrayal taking shape. One night, Ekun returned home earlier than usual. The house was quiet, too quiet. His instincts screamed. He walked to the bedroom. The bed was untouched, but something else caught his attention, the calabash. It was still tied to the ceiling, but the rope looked disturbed, as if someone had touched it. His heart tightened. He waited and waited until Nalaya returned. She walked in casually. Where were you? He asked calmly. With a friend, she replied quickly. Which friend? She hesitated, then snapped. Why are you interrogating me? That was when Ika knew. The woman standing before him was no longer the one he trusted. 2 days later, the truth exposed itself. A neighbor spoke without knowing. I saw Nalaya with a man in town. The woman said casually. They looked close. Akun said nothing. He did not shout. He did not cry. He simply went home and waited. When Nalaya returned that night, he sat her down. I know, he said quietly. Her face went pale. I know about him. Silence filled the room like smoke. I gave you my trust, Ekun continued. My home, my family, my secrets. She said nothing. I want to break up. Those words struck her harder than any slap. And in that moment, instead of remorse, rage took over. There are moments in life when a single decision reveals the true nature of a person. Not when things are easy, not when love is sweet, but when consequences arrive. That was the moment Nalaya stood in. The word break up hung in the air, heavy, cold, unforgiving. For a few seconds, Nalaya could not breathe. Break up? After everything. After access to his home, his money, his family. After knowing his secrets. Fear rushed through her veins. But instead of humility, instead of remorse, something darker rose. Anger. So that's it, she snapped. You think you can just throw me away? Ekun remained seated. His voice was steady. I did not throw you away, he said. You threw yourself away the moment you chose another man. She laughed bitterly. You're acting like a saint, she scoffed. You think you're better than everyone because you're hardworking. Ekun said nothing. Silence enraged her further. You think you own me? She continued. You think because you showed me your little properties, I owe you my life? That word, again. Life. And suddenly, something clicked in her mind. Her eyes drifted upward, to the ceiling, to the calabash. The calabash he had spoken of with fear. The calabash he said carried his life. A dangerous thought formed. If he wanted to end everything, then she would end everything. Before Ikun could react, Nalaya stood up abruptly. She turned and rushed toward the bedroom. Nalaya, he called, stop. But betrayal does not listen. She entered the room. Her chest heaved. Her hands shook, not with fear, but with fury. She grabbed a stool, climbed, and yanked the rope. The calabash fell. Time slowed. Ekun ran in just in time to see it crash against the floor. Crack! It shattered. Pieces scattered across the ground. Silence followed. Ekun froze, not because he believed he would die, but because he finally understood something far worse. The woman he loved was capable of killing him. Nalaya turned around. Her anger dissolved instantly. Fear replaced it. Her legs gave way. She fell to her knees. Oh God, she cried. No, no, no. She crawled toward him. I didn't mean it, she sobbed. It was the devil. The devil used me. She grabbed his legs. Please forgive me. I wasn't thinking. Akon looked down at her, and for the first time since he met her, he felt nothing. No anger, no pain, no love, only clarity. He bent down, picked up one piece of the broken calabash, turned it in his hand. Then he laughed. A dry, hollow laugh. Nalaya looked up, confused. Why are you laughing? She whispered. Ekun stood. The calabash, he said calmly, was never my life. Her eyes widened. What? It was ordinary, he continued. No power, no spirit, no destiny. Her mouth trembled. I lied, he said. I created the story to test you. Her world collapsed. I needed to know, Ikun continued, whether the woman I trusted would protect my life or destroy it when things went wrong. He gestured at the broken pieces. You answered me. Nalaya screamed. No, you tricked me. Ikun shook his head. No, I protected myself. He stepped back. You see, he said, the man who gives someone his art must first test their hands. Nalaya wept. She begged. She swore. She blamed spirits, friends, temptation. But Akun had already decided. I cannot live with a woman, he said firmly, who would kill me when she feels threatened. He opened the door. Leave. She stared at him. You're sending me away? She whispered. Yes. To where? That is no longer my concern. She packed what she could, walked out, and just like that, everything she had, she lost in one night. Betrayal does not end when a door is closed. Sometimes, that is when it truly begins. Nalaya left Ekun's house with a small bag and a heavy heart. The night air felt colder than usual. Every step away from the house reminded her of what she had lost. Not just a man, not just a home, but security. Still, pride walked beside her. She told herself she had another option. Kareem, the man who promised gold and silver, the man who said he would take care of her, the man who made everything sound easy. Surely he would not abandon her now. She went straight to him, knocked on his door, hard, urgent. The door opened slowly. Kareem stood there, surprise on his face. Nalaya? He asked. What are you doing here? She pushed past him. I left my husband, she said breathlessly. I chose you. His smile faded. What do you mean you left him? I mean, he wanted to divorce me, she said, and now I'm here. Silence filled the air. Not the romantic kind, the dangerous kind. Kareem rubbed his face. You left him? He asked again. Yes, she said. You promised me a better life. He laughed, not warmly, nervously. Listen, he began. I thought we were just enjoying ourselves. Her heart sank. You said you wanted to marry me. He shifted. I said a lot of things. You promised me wealth. He scoffed. Who doesn't? Reality hit her like a slap. You used me, she whispered. Kareem frowned. Don't turn this into something serious, he said. I never asked you to destroy your marriage. Her legs trembled. So, what now? She asked. He shrugged. You should go back to your husband. She laughed bitterly. Kareem stepped back. Then you'll have to figure things out on your own. Nalaya stood there, abandoned. The man who offered her heaven could not offer her shelter. All the gold and silver had been nothing but words. Meanwhile, Akun sat alone in his house, not broken, not angry, just reflective. He cleaned the broken calabash pieces and threw them away, not because they mattered, but because they reminded him of a lesson learned. He did not regret the test. He regretted that it was necessary. Days passed, then weeks. News traveled fast. People whispered. She destroyed his secret. She tried to kill him. She was driven away. Some blamed Kun for testing her. Others praised his wisdom. But Ikon did not listen. He had returned to his routine. Work, peace, silence. One evening, his mother came to visit. She sat beside him. "You did the right thing," she said softly. "A woman who destroys what keeps a man alive will destroy everything else." Ekun nodded. "I loved her," he replied. "But love without trust is a slow death."